Hi, good evening. We're just going to give everybody a few minutes to jump on and then we'll start the interview. Hi, I'm Amber Wakefield and I'm with the 5770 Task Force. We have done a few of these interviews throughout the month of February where we interviewed Chief of Police Jason McFarland, and we interviewed Patricia McKnight and Annie Shoemaker with Eden's Glory, and we interviewed Winda with Eden's Glory, all talking about human trafficking, how that presents itself, what it looks like in our community, things that you can do to be aware of the signs of human trafficking. We wanted to continue furthering this with some local spotlights, local service spotlights. So today I'm here with Jill Wright of SAFE. SAFE stands for Sexual Assault and Family Emergencies. I wanted to introduce you to Jill. She's been a part of SAFE for 10 years now. Congratulations.
Thank you.
Yeah, SAFE covers, we're located here in Effingham at 401 East Washington. They cover 11 counties. They serve 11 counties. Let's see, Bond, Clay, Clinton, Effingham, Fayette, Hamilton, Jefferson, Marion, Washington, Wayne, and White counties. That was one breath. That was good. Tell us a little bit about you. Tell us a little bit about your role at SAFE. And we want to unpack quite a few things today for the community in as far as resources and education. So we'll start with you. I think that'll lead us into a nice space.
For sure. So again, my name is Jill Wright, and I have been with SAFE for 10 years now. I'm currently the medical legal advocate for Effingham as well as Bond and Fayette counties. But prior to that, for the past 9 years, I was working in the prevention education piece of SAFE. So we have several different areas of SAFE. We have the prevention education, then we have the advocacy piece, and we also have counseling services. So I had started again in the education, and I have now moved into the advocacy position.
Tell us about the prevention education. This is a really good start for understanding services as a whole, especially when it comes to an organization like SAFE that does so many different things.
When I was doing prevention, one of my big taglines was, we always hope that we are the only people that you ever come in contact with for SAFE. Not because we're better than everybody else, but because
Sure.
Usually if you're coming to SAFE, you're coming because you've had some kind of traumatic experience. But if you have contact with our prevention team, then you've just been taught some ways to help you to hopefully prevent some of those things from happening. So we would go into schools and do prevention programs on things mainly about empowerment, things where someone was trying to take power away from someone else. So internet safety, we talk about a lot.
Very important.
We also talk about body safety. We have a consent program where we teach what consent is and talk about when you can give consent and what ways you can give consent. We also have a human trafficking program. We have healthy relationships, dating violence. We have a compassion education program, which is kind of a bullying type of program. Mm-hmm. So all things to help kiddos to be able to stand up for themselves if they've ever been put in a situation that could be a trauma situation.
What ages do you
We actually start at preschool, and
Nice.
we go through the 12th grade, and then we also do some staff programming. We do some things for like local businesses and situations like that.
We'll unpack that second part here
Sure.
in just a bit. The prevention services. Do you have an example of kind of how that looks as far as, I think you told me a story a bit ago?
Yes. So it was really hard for me to make the decision to move from prevention to advocacy, simply because I'm a teacher at heart. I'm an educator, and I have been for quite some time. I taught special ed prior to coming to this position, and so education is a big piece of who I am. So it was really hard for me to make that transition, but there were other things that kind of pushed me in that direction.
Sure.
And so the first time that I had a CAC interview, which is the Child Advocacy Center, where the kiddos go to interview with the forensic interviewer, and they have the police and usually a DCFS worker watching in on the video. So when I went to that very first one, the lady was introducing herself and telling them a little bit about what the CAC interview was going to look like, and then she wanted me to introduce myself. Well, we were all fully masked, so it was hard to really see what anybody looks like. But as soon as I opened my mouth and started to talk and introduce myself, "Hi, my name's Jill Wright, I was safe," the little girl's eyes just lit up, and she said, "I know you, you've been in my classroom lots of times." And so immediately there was that relationship and rapport. So I knew right then that I'd kind of come full circle and I was where I needed to be.
Absolutely. So really great transition point. So you came into the classrooms, you would explain, body safety, consent to the students. Now you're in a different position doing advocacy for the victims, right?
Correct. For survivors, yep.
For survivors. Tell me a little bit about how that looks. What you guys actually do with survivors as you move through.
Sure. We do legal and medical advocacy. So what that looks like is, in the medical piece, if someone has been sexually assaulted or sexually abused, they may go to the hospital or to the doctor's office or to a police station. And we have a really good relationship with all of those entities. And so they will immediately call us at SAFE. And we are on call 24 hours a day. And we'll meet that survivor wherever it is that they are. If they happen to be at a hospital and they decide that they want to do an evidence collection kit, which we will go through, we will tell them their rights and let them know what an evidence collection kit looks like, what the idea of it is, what it's for, how it could benefit them, and what pieces of it. We kind of unpack the kit just in our minds and let them know this is what's going to happen, this is why they're doing it, this is how it could benefit you, and let them decide if that's what they want to do or they don't want to do. And we'll stay with them the entire time. The last time that I was on a medical call, I was at the hospital with the survivor for 10 hours. So overnight, I was there helping them and just supporting them, answering any questions that they might have, because it's really traumatic to be in a situation where you've been sexually assaulted, but then to go into a medical facility and have to relive that over and over again is just trauma on top of trauma. So it helps to have somebody there that can support you. And so that looks like what we do for the medical piece.
And somebody who knows the protocol. I would think that if you try to put yourself in a compassionate place in somebody's shoes, I wouldn't want to go somewhere and have no idea what they're offering. What is that? How does that happen? I think that that's a really powerful tool to be able to have an advocate beside you explaining the steps on your side.
Yeah, it definitely makes them feel more comfortable. You can tell that when they first come in, they're all uptight and nervous and scared, and you can see when they kind of relax and their shoulders come down and they start to build a relationship with you, which is easy to do in a 10-hour time period.
Sure.
Which is great, because then we evolve from that to our legal side and we stay with that person. So it's not like they have to be introduced to somebody new and tell somebody else that whole story again. We stay with them, and then we go with them to any court proceedings that they may have. If they don't want to go, we go instead of them, and we relay back the information to them. We also are there for support to help them to manipulate the system, to go through the system, because sometimes people don't understand the court system. People don't know what some of the things are that they're doing, why they're doing them, or what they mean.
Sure.
And so we're there to help hold their hand through that as well and help prepare them if they have to go to trial. We're there to give them some empowerment bags, which we talked about earlier, to help them to feel calmer and more at ease in the situation.
I love the idea of the empowerment bag. Can you just kind of briefly talk about these? It's not just having a person with you, too, that's your advocate. It's about giving people the tools to
help themselves.
And
absolutely. So we do that as a tool for them to take into the courtroom, or sometimes we have kiddos that have to go back to school, and that's a tough situation, a tough transition for them too. So they can take these little items that we create in this empowerment bag to help them. We talk about some things for them to do to calm themselves or to relieve some stress. If they're angry, we can de-escalate some of those things. And the way that we do it, we actually have a couple of exercises that we do. I'll have you do them with me.
Oh, wonderful.
I forgot about those a while ago. So we have the magic mustache, and the magic mustache is where you just take your finger and you press it between your nose and your upper lip. And there's a pressure point here that with pressure, that can help you to de-escalate and to help calm your breathing. And so we tell kiddos to use their magic mustache if they get to a point where they need something and they don't have anything physically available. I mean, if they're sitting at a desk, they can easily sit like this and nobody's going to think anything about it, and yet it can help them to cope. So that's one of the things. We also do pizza breathing. So with pizza breathing, we talk to the kiddos about what their favorite items are on a pizza. And so we create this pizza, this pretend pizza, and then we hold it, and we tell them that they need to breathe in the pizza. So they're going to smell it, take a deep breath, and then it's really hot, so they have to blow it off. And so those are some of those things that we do. And then inside the bag, we actually have several different options, and they get to choose. And we have parents do this too, because when parents have had a sexual assault happen to one of their kiddos, it doesn't just affect that kid. It affects their whole family. So we bring out a bunch of different textiles. We have some really fuzzy blanket type things. We have some really scratchy, like gunny sack fabric. And then we have some really slick, like silky fabrics. So different things for them to pick from. And they get to feel it and choose which one of those things connects with them and really brings them back. Sometimes it's a grounding experience as much as anything else. So they get to cut a piece of that, and that goes in their empowerment bag. And then we also talk about, that's their sense of touch. We have a sense of smell. So we have several essential oils that we let them choose from, and we create what we call smelly sticks. So they just fill up their little, it's like a cotton core, and they put that together, and then they can refill it anytime they need to when they come in. And they have that with them that they can just smell that, and a lot of times that gets kids really excited to be able to have their own mechanism to feel better, help themselves.
It does work with the brain and retraining yourself to be in a safe spot and smell
really
that
does.
safe scent and back around.
So then we also put a piece of gum or a peppermint, because then that's our taste. And sometimes we need, what I always say is, when you get upset, we clench our jaw. Well, if we have that mint or that gum in our mouth, we can't keep our jaw clenched, so we are able to relax that a little bit. And then we put in a worry stone, and we let them choose out of several different ones of those which one that they would like to use. And seems like there's something else, but I can't remember what it is. But we put all of those into just like a little Ipsy bag, like crayon or pencil type bag, and then they can keep that with them and easily put any of those items in their pocket if they go to school, if they have to go to court, if they sit in the courtroom, if they have to go to a CAC interview. Oftentimes we'll throw some Play-Doh in there or something like that, just one of those little types.
Sure.
And they can at least keep their hands busy and help them to not necessarily think about what's going on, but be able to calm themselves.
Sure. I think adults, I could use
an empowerment bag.
An empowerment
we can go
bag.
Make one when we're done.
Okay. So we've talked about a lot of the things that you guys provide for the kids, following them through the court system and survivors. So it's not just a child based; it's survivors of any age.
Absolutely, and not just the survivors, but their families as well.
That's an important role to support the support system of the people. Tell me a little bit more about some of the other services that you guys have. You are a full counseling service.
Correct.
And I'll let you kind of expand on what you guys do in-house or outside.
Sure. Yeah, we have counseling available. All of our services are completely free and confidential. And then our counseling piece, we have an office here for our counselor, and she is our in-house counselor full-time, and she will go into schools to do counseling there as well. So if a person isn't able to come into our office, or if they can't get in during our hours, then she's able to go into schools. Some of the schools are a little more particular right now because of COVID. But in general, she's usually able to go and do that. Then we also do offer, if necessary, phone counseling, as well as a Google Meet, Zoom type of counseling, where we make sure that that's confidential also. So we have several different avenues, to make sure we meet the needs of all of them.
Sure. we're going to do this is a new facility.
It is.
You moved.
It's new to us. It's
New
not
to-
new.
It's not new. It's new to you guys. You moved from your old establishment to here. And so at the same time,
We've been here right about a year, which happens to be right when COVID kind of hit. So when we got here, we didn't even really get the chance to unpack all of our boxes until we were able to come back. And we've been back full time about since January. So
that's a good
it's-
feeling.
yeah, it is. It was a rough way to start, and then we had all of this new stuff, and we weren't able to come in and utilize it. So it was tough for a little while, but
Really great facility, and we'll give a quick tour of everyone's office and some space available, and we can talk about that too. I love that you have the kids have their own room. That's a fun thing. Tell me, one of the main things that I want to talk about while I'm here is about your advocacy service, your education services. As the 5770 task force, we're kind of looking to be able to offer what exists in our community to our community members. We want to be able to just remind people of the tools they have. We spoke a lot when we were through the interviews in the Human Trafficking Awareness Month of see something, say something, as something that the community members can do. We all are in different groups outside of, whether it be your church group or your social justice group or whatever group anyone's in that has an opportunity to bring an education piece to them. And I'd like for you to let us know what we can do, how we can actively get involved.
absolutely. So again, we're in schools all the time, and we do provide all of that education to kiddos in the classrooms, and we're open to having our preventionists do any of those programs for adults and parents as well. One of the big things that is super important is we go into classrooms, I don't anymore.
Sure.
They go into classrooms, and for instance, the internet safety program, we'll talk to kids about how to stay safe while they're using the internet. Well, how to stay safer, there's no way to be completely safe.
Right.
Which is also something that we teach. But when they're in there, the kids are getting this information, but sadly, parents generally have less information than the kiddos. And so it's important for our parents to also learn about that internet safety piece, because oftentimes their kids are doing things that they don't have any idea what that could cause, the trauma that could come from it, or the difficulties that they could have because of it, and how to control that. So,
or a safety training, or this is what it's about. And of course they don't want to tell me about their phone.
right.
Yeah.
Right. And then we do the human trafficking program in lots of Rotary meetings and sorority clubs and women's clubs and things like that, just to get it out into the community. We also have done our healthy relationships program in some group homes and in some forms like that, so that we're helping build relationships that oftentimes aren't what we see in the norm, because usually if we're watching a movie or we're watching TV nowadays, we don't see healthy relationships. And so unfortunately, that sets in their minds, and to them, that is the norm. And so we want to break that, and we want to teach what a healthy relationship does look like.
I think that's a very important piece. A lot of what we've been discussing throughout human trafficking is the difference of normal growing up. And that could be, usually there's layers of things like child abuse or domestic violence involved in the human trafficking aspect. And a normal relationship isn't something that is necessarily always talked about or displayed, modeled, that sort of thing. So I really feel like that one hangs me up every time, like, oh, this one is definitely one that we need more often. So you also do something that's really interesting. You got a grant to start something in our community, and I'm going to let you tell about it because I could never do it justice, and I'm really excited to hear about it again.
Sure. So we got it started, and then I moved over to advocacy. So our preventionists are doing a program where they go into bars and they teach the bar staff things to look for sexual assault or abuse or violence of any kind, also human trafficking, and then how to report that, how to handle those situations, and they actually then can graduate and receive what's called the Safe Bar training sticker. So they get a sticker for their window that then displays, hey, we've been through the training and we are a qualified safe bar in your county.
So owners, bartenders, bar staff, wait staff.
You got it.
Go
It's
through
a free training.
A free training on what to look for in their clientele or what to look for
In a situation.
in a situation when something just seems different and how to handle that situation. And
Exactly.
give me an example.
So there may be a situation where somebody is on a Tinder date or a Bumble date or whatever those,
Sure.
I don't keep up on those necessarily,
Sure.
but one of those. And it may not be the same thing that they expected, which we talk about in our internet prevention program, because people can pretend to be anybody they want.
Yes.
So they show up and it may not be exactly what they had in their head that was going to happen. And so by some of the signs and signals, the bartender might be able to read that they're really uncomfortable. And they might then be able to provide them a ride home or call the police or intervene in a safe way.
I love this. Without disclosing too much of my age, I've been out of that bar scene for quite a while, or the dating scene even for quite a while. Would have been amazing to have when I was younger, something like this. I would love to encourage any community bar, restaurant to take advantage of this. I'm really excited to see it take off in this community because I think it's so important.
Yeah, we're hoping to be able to involve one of our local bars with that coming up, because we do have our Sexual Assault Awareness Month in April, and we always try to do some kind of an awareness project. This year we're actually kind of teaming up with Effing Brew, and they're creating a specific beer for us for that month, where they're going to give the proceeds to us so that we will be able to fund more of the programs that we have, and then we can even offer hopefully more. And hopefully they will be one of the first, but if anybody else is interested prior to that, we would love to have you be the first safe bar in Effingham County or in any of our counties.
Yeah. Let's talk about the event. We don't have a locked-in date.
Correct.
You're doing what is the month?
It's April, the month of April.
No, the national month.
Oh, it's called Sexual Assault Awareness Month. We call it SAM, S-A-A-M.
Okay. I think that you wanted to do all kinds of different fun stuff we're working on. What's going to happen?
Yes, lots of
month
things
to month
in the works. We've been working with one of the local artists in the area, and we're hoping to get a band that can come out. We're going to be doing some kind of situation where we're looking at having people that have been touched by sexual assault in some way. They know someone who's been sexually assaulted. They themselves have. They've had that trauma experience in some way. A friend of theirs, whatever the case may be. We're going to have ribbons that they're going to be able to attach to a wreath. So we're going to create a Sexual Assault Awareness Month wreath that we hope people can participate in. And then we can see visually how many people are actually touched by it, regardless of whether it was you. There are way more people than what we generally realize that have had something connected to sexual assault and them.
Sure. I'm really excited. We will be sharing the event when it's live and ready to go. I hope to attend. So
Gonna have some live music.
Absolutely.
So it should be a good time for sure.
Absolutely. I'm looking forward to just being out and being with people.
Of like minds.
Of like minds.
Yeah, for sure.
I know we have a lot of advocates watching, and I know that those who haven't been able to jump on tonight will be able to hop on some other time and check this out. We're going to list all of our details, how to reach you, the website, how to contact you for education series.
We also do trainings as far as the advocacy piece goes. We do police office trainings and medical facility trainings to make sure that we update the laws on sexual assault, as well as the medical training that needs to happen for our SANE nurses and things of that nature too.
That's interesting. So you go in, we'll say quarterly, and discuss any kind of new laws with them. Like, this has changed.
Right. Generally, we do it once a year because usually it happens once a year as to when the laws do come up. So usually we'll update about once a year.
Okay. I think that's fantastic. It's almost, you do everything.
No, not everything.
A lot of things.
Sometimes it feels like everything.
Sure. I wanted to hit your website real quick. safecrisiscenter.org, and I'll drop that information in the comments of this before, not before I post it, but it's live and it'll be in there tomorrow. And I'll put the donation. You guys are funded by the United Way. All your services are free.
All of our services are free. We do also get funding from ICASA, the Illinois Coalition of Sexual Assault. So we get some funding that is coming down from them. We do get funding as well from the United Way, and then we do have some private donors, and we do some fundraisers, which is what our SAM month will be.
Sure.
And then also, if you come to our website, you'll see we have nope, right there at the top, right where you were, the butterfly. Yeah. So we have this mural, and that mural is actually in Centralia, but we're looking for a place to put a mural here in Effingham County. So if anybody has the site of a building that they would like to be painted, we would love to be able to provide you with that. And what we have done in most of our murals is to paint wings, so that just to empower that idea.
Totally. Check out their website. You can see it on the homepage, safecrisiscenter.org. And I'll put it below. But that would be really cool. So people be able to take a picture beside it and continue that.
Jogged my memory when I saw that on the website.
On that page.
Mm-hmm.
So you assist sexual assault resources, sexual abuse resources, sex trafficking, domestic violence, suicide prevention, and internet safety. We've talked about everything in this interview so far except suicide prevention. Not that it isn't a layer here, but it seems to stand alone. And can you just kind of unpack that for me just a second, what you guys do?
Yeah, for sure. So we started, when I started 10 years ago, just doing sexual assaults and abuse, and that was all our funding was able to fund us for. And we've had many towns in our communities that have had lots and lots of loss from suicide, and a lot of those teachers and administrators aren't really sure where to go with that, and they're so connected to their students that it's hard for them to give that presentation. So they've asked us multiple times, is this something you can do? Is this something you can do? So we have been able to create a program where now those preventionists can help with that.
That's awesome. You take that to the schools as
Correct.
well. What age do you typically start with the suicide prevention?
So I can't answer that for sure because that's not a piece that I was a part of.
Mm-hmm.
So that's something that they can definitely call and we can find out, but I don't know that positively.
We'll circle back to that. I'd love to get some more information. And then prevention, we talked about the education programs for school. If you go to their website, the prevention is listed, and it's listed by elementary, junior high programs, and high school programs. So you can see what's a fit for your age demographic. The number to call if you're interested in being a part of the Safe Bar training, or if you have any questions or want to bring safe to your group, to talk to your Rotary, 217-342-6623 is the Effingham number. The main line, Vandalia, is 618-283-1414. An important number is the hotline as well. 24-hour sexual assault hotline, 1-800-625-1414. I wanted to make sure that I got those in there. We're at about 30 minutes, and I usually take this moment to just see if anyone has left any questions or any comments. We've had quite a few people watching, and I think we've probably answered a lot of what they had to ask. If you could do something, if SAFE could do something, what is the main goal? Like, I would love to see this project.
Oh wow, we have so many in the works.
Mm-hmm.
We have so many ideas that are coming to fruition, and so many things that we've seen happen that it's hard to pick one thing. I guess ultimately would be for us to be out of jobs, because if we didn't have the need for sexual assault workers, then there wouldn't be that problem. So ultimately
Sure.
that would be ideal.
Sure.
Unfortunately, I feel like it's probably going to be a while before we can get to that point, but the more we can get out there and do our prevention programs, the more we're going to be able to fill those kiddos' heads with empowering thoughts and let them know that they have a choice and let them know that they can talk about things. Secrets aren't okay, and there are different kinds of secrets that make people feel uncomfortable or yucky, or secrets that we may need to make sure and tell. When we go into classrooms, if we can start with a young group of kids, teach them about consent. If they don't want to sit on grandma's lap, they don't have to. It's so heartbreaking to me when I see a kiddo and mom's like, oh, you have to go give Aunt Susie a kiss before she leaves, and the kiddo doesn't want to. You know, that's where we need to start with consent, is letting them lead the way on things that make them feel uncomfortable. They don't have to do those things. And that way, then when they get to where someone has touched them in ways that they shouldn't, they don't think, oh, well, I had to do that.
She was my grandma.
It's my grandma, or my, whatever.
Sure.
And so then they can know, hey, that's not okay. I can tell you no. I can tell an adult no. Now, if mom asked you to clean your room, that's a different situation. But
and you cover that too, right?
Yeah, for sure. But if it has to do with your safety, then we want to make sure that they know. And we oftentimes have them practice. It's hard for a kindergartner to scream no to an adult. So we make them actually physically do that activity so that, they can say no. And one of the things that's really funny, when I was doing the consent in a younger classroom, I think it was first grade actually, we tell them, hey, I'm going to pretend like I want to give you a hug, but I want you to tell me no, because you're uncomfortable, or you don't like it, or you're angry, or in a bad mood, or you got a bad grade, or whatever. And so I would come up and I'd be all, hey, I'm so happy to see you. Come over here, give me a big hug. And, they're like, no, like all kinds of different things. And this little girl's like, yes! So she just didn't have that yet, but we worked on it.
She was a hugger.
Yes,
yeah.
for sure. She was.
But that's about
excited.
consent. She was consensual.
She was okay with that, for sure. Yeah.
So if I had a mom group, unaffiliated, me and 6 of my friends want to get together, can I call you and you
for
come?
Sure.
And then we do a parent
definitely.
training, and then we all bring our kids in and we do a consent training.
Another thing that we would love to get kind of hooked up with is, I know that there are several homeschooling groups within our area. And so unfortunately, because they're not in the schools, we don't get to teach them that piece. So that's another thing we would love to get tied together with. If there's any homeschool groups that would like to have those services, we would love to be able to do that. And it's actually the law in the state of Illinois right now. I don't know if you've heard of Aaron's Law, but for us to bring body safety to kiddos, it's actually a requirement for schools to be able to do that. So we're doing a service for them so that they don't have to do it. It's completely free. Coming from somebody other than their teacher is much easier on their teacher and much easier on the student. So we feel like it's a pretty good gig, and anybody that is interested, we would love to hear from them.
I was blown away when we first talked. Like, I had no idea that these services were available. I had no idea. For free.
And see, that's what is so sad for us. We've been here for over 20 years. We want to get out in our community and let people know, hey, we have all of this stuff. Come take advantage of it. Come use it.
I'm happy to share that information. I'm happy to hold the megaphone and shout your praises. I will be sharing this. I would love for you guys to all check out Safe Space Facebook page. You guys share a lot of really great information on your Facebook page. About consent. I've been, especially the past week, I've just seen it come up and I think, oh, that's perfect. Like, this is something that needs to be seen in feeds more often. I hope we get to partner together a little bit more in just advocacy and the education for our community. What do people do when they're outside of the community? Does it say we're right next to Jasper County, and I know that Jasper County isn't on the list.
Right. So most counties in the state of Illinois have a similar setup. So they may not be safe, sexual assaults and family emergencies, but they have something that exists and does similar things to what SAFE does. And we can easily give you those resources and connect you to one that would be in your territory.
Wonderful. I know a lot of people are watching from Jasper, Richland, some more southernmost counties. And so I know that they're going to say, oh, well, let's do this. And we'll probably be in contact.
Sasha says, I know I say this every time I watch, so educational. I'm so glad I watched. Jill does amazing work.
Sasha's from Swan.
Oh, yeah.
Um,
And we connect with them a lot. We tag team on stuff. Swan has been a great asset for us to have, as well as Effingham. And there are lots of times where we work together on different situations.
what does SWAN stand for exactly?
Stop Women's Abuse Now.
Stop Women's Abuse Now. And they're another group that we'd like to bring in and talk to. Really connected in the layers of human trafficking for this 5770 task force. And we'd all just love to partner up so that we can direct
Oh, yeah.
community survivors to the right places.
To be able to provide the resources, for sure.
to put us all out of work. I'm happy to get on.
Hopefully, that would be great.
I'm
but-
happy to get on board. She goes, I did not know about the suicide program. Again, very glad I watched this and very educational. Lisa says, great job, Jill. I really appreciate everybody who has joined us today. And let's do a quick
Yeah,
tour
let's take a look.
and show everybody the new facility because you moved in right when COVID hit. And
Yeah, we were planning to have an open house and, invite people from the community in to just see our space. We feel like it's a fun space and it's a relaxing space where people can feel comfortable. And
Yes, it
so,
is.
yeah, we definitely hope that, if you have a chance, you can come by and check us out.
what I really like too is you're downtown. So you're close to, you can grab a coffee at Joe Sippers. You can check out the court lawn, the square on the courthouse when there's the farmer's market
Oh,
in the
yeah.
summer. I love that. Just when you can get out and just do a couple other things at the same time and enjoy your day. Downtown is so great that way. And you nailed it on the fun aspect. This is a really great space. So you'll come in here. Let me switch this around. You'll come in here to the entrance. And then this is the main waiting room. Spacious, bright. Which way do you want to go? You want to
It's totally up to
guide
you.
us? Let's,
For sure.
Allie's.
Yep, this is Allison's office. Allie, this is our counselor. I'll flip the light on so you
Okay.
can see a little bit. And she has a really serene and calming office.
Love the tapestry.
Uh-huh.
And then right down the hall from her office is my favorite spot.
This is our children's therapy room.
This is great.
And this was so much fun to decorate when we moved in. We want the kiddos to feel at home and to have some things that can take their mind off of some of the
Have them in
struggles
their
and
own
the heavy
space.
stuff. Yeah, so then they get their own.
Well,
Oh,
actually,
yeah.
we'll just cut through here. There's a couple little office stuff, a kitchenette, and your favorite, or my favorite, is your office.
Oh, well, it's my favorite too. Thanks. I'm definitely a person for words, and some people are overwhelmed and think my office is a little busy, but it's
No.
very me.
It's great. It's great. Animals are a big part of you too, and a big part of hopefully services in the future.
Yes, and some of the things that we do now with the healing species, that is a big part of animals going into classrooms and teaching violence prevention and compassion education.
We'll touch back on that
Okay,
real quick
sure.
before we're done. And this space is actually a
This
work
is
in progress.
An open space right now, yeah, and we are looking for, so if anybody's interested and has the credentials that they're looking for, we're looking for a contract counselor or therapist to do some extra overload stuff that we have coming in and going on right now, so.
Wonderful. Before we exit, tell us about the pet. What is it called?
Healing species?
Healing species, because we talked about this before. Both of us are pet lovers.
Yeah, for sure.
And so I wanted to make sure that everybody knew about this little piece.
So that's another program that is offered by our preventionists, and they go into classrooms, oftentimes with a dog. Now, some of the programs, they aren't able to take the dog in because the dog can take over the show, and sometimes the lesson needs to be more focused. But oftentimes they will use the animal, and the animal will help them teach a lesson about compassion and violence prevention, because so many times animals are able to do so much more than what we can. And we've had situations where when a dog would go into one specific classroom, he immediately went over to this one kiddo's desk and laid his chin up on his knee and just kind of sat there. And the little boy then was petting him. And when we left, the teacher came up to me and said, you'll never believe what a rough day that kiddo has had. That had to have just melted all of that away.
Aw.
So, yeah. I mean, they make such a huge difference in our lives in so many different ways. And they know things that we could never
do.
know.
They do. And as caregivers, I think that we understand the importance of that because typically we have a pet
Yeah.
and we feel it in
And
ourselves.
I mean, it's scientific. It tells
Yeah.
us, it can calm your breathing. It can slow your heart rate. It can do all of these extra things that you and I can't do.
Mm-hmm.
So just to have them there as a presence in the classroom has been a tremendous, exciting piece.
I can't thank you enough for taking your time out and staying late. And I wanted to thank
Our hours specifically.
Oh,
We didn't
yeah.
talk about that. Generally, we're here 8:30 to 4, but we often stay late at least one evening just to accommodate people who also work and aren't able to get in at those times. So
That's great. This has been wonderful. I'm thrilled to be able to speak about your
I'm
services.
so glad that we got connected and we were able to meet up and made this happen.
Yeah. Again, I will have all the information for SAFE listed here. I'll be sharing a lot. You can check out their website and their Facebook page. Any other places that they might go, I'll drop all that information in. You guys don't have to worry about that. But this has been fantastic. We're going to circle back around. I'll be sharing a lot of your information coming up on our 5770 task force page.
And we would love to see you all at Effing Brew for our kickoff of Sexual Assault Awareness Month.
Thank you guys all for joining us. Have a great evening.